So these ones have these holes to the sides, but they're basically made out of just plain old spandex. Everywhere else is just pretty darn basic. And this pair is just kind of your general black ones, but they've got like little striping going all down it. That gives it a little bit of texture. And this pair is kind of your more zebra stripy kind. They're made out of that really, really thin material. It's not really great and it's prone to ripping, but the design is nice. Now this is another zebra-y style, but it's more of a gray and black zebra. And it's also got these little bows on the bottom, on both sides. Now these are my red leopard print. They're very soft and fuzzy and quite warm, so good for the colder weather, which Canada is prone to. Now these pair were originally just your general black leggings, but as you can see, I cut a whole shit ton of holes in them, and they actually have this little spiking at the bottom. So, and this is actually really, really easy to do. All you need is pretty much a pair of scissors and a little bit of time. And you basically just cut in random areas. Now this is another more sheer pair. So it's got all this striping and it is totally sheer. So needless to say, it's very thin and not good for cold weather at all. Now these are pretty much just your basic black pair, but as you can see, it's got all these little metal rivets running down the sides. And it's got this on both of them. And this is another red pair that's got kind of, I guess, tribal-esque markings all over it. But not really, it's more just funky, weird Ardeen fashion. These are my Halloween leggings, as have been seen in probably many a video. Well, these are my crosses and skulls, which have also been worn in many of my Outfits of the Days videos. Now these are another, like, zebra stripe-ish, and these are kind of more PVC, plasticky kind of stuff, latex kind of, but not quite. It more so looks like it, but no, these are my cat face ones, so they pretty much just have kitty faces on the sides. Meow, meow, and kitten in the background. Now these are my black and white speckled ones, which are a common one for me. So I wear these ones fairly often. Now these are another kind of shiny pair. They're not very good for cold weather. That have this quite shark-faced girl design all over it that's very technological and strange, I guess. Now these are my more PVC leathery kind of ones, in case you can't tell by the sound they make. But they actually have this little line here that kind of, I guess, adds a little bit of design to it. Not that it's that easy to see. Now these are just your basic traditional semi-sheer black leggings. Just your traditional white nylons. They're being a pain to put on, so I'm only showing part of them. Now these are, you know, typical black sheer with a little bow on the back and a line that runs down. It's like another kitty face kind of nylon. And they've got little kitty faces on the front and the back. And this is a more fishnetty style, but it's a designed fishnet. Yeah, hi kitten. And this is another kitty pair. My only complaint about this is the tan coloring here. This is not my actual skin legging color. This is the tan on the nylons, which is a lot darker than my actual skin. Which is the only thing that really annoys me about these. And these are not the ones with the tails on the back. They just have a kitty face on the front. This is another fishnetting pair, except for it's like small fishnet combined with very, very large fishnet and one pair of fishnet nylons. This is my very fine fishnetting, so it's got very, very tiny holes in it instead of wider holes. Are your basic general fishnet. They are a little bit damaged and they have a lot of clumps of cat fur actually stuck to them. Duplicate of the previous pair, but it was so damaged that I got a bunch of holes in it, so I just cut a whole bunch more into it. So it's got holes throughout it. These were actually called zombie tights, so they have this kind of, I guess, really faded grayish patterning on them. but it's only on one side of them. The other side is just plain black. Now these are like really messy fishnetting. So they look kind of hectic and crazy and almost spider-like, but they're not quite. And then I've got these ones which have this like sheer, kind of almost flowery patterning on it. Though it winds up looking kind of more like an abnormal camo or smoke maybe. Now these ones are little tiny squares that are thicker down the sides than this way. Now these are diagonal fishnets, which down the sides you can see where the two lines meet. And then I've got these fishnettings which have the bold lines going down the center with fishnetting in between the black lines. Now these are patchwork that also involves the use of extremely fine fishnetting. It's so fine that you really can't even tell, but yeah. Now these are your general ever so tacky skeleton nylons, which pretty much every goth probably has owned at some point in their life. Then we've got this more floral style with a bit of fishnetting on it, whereas the back is like totally blacked out. And I've got these spiderweb ones, which you get for like super duper cheap during Halloween. So you pay like $1 for them pretty much. And this is your basic floral pattern kind. I'm pretty sure these ones were actually a hand-me-down, so they're old. Probably from, I don't know, my mom's era. And then we've got this one, which has got like little hearts running all the way down it. And kitten. Where are you off to, bud? Getting some food. Then I've got your general black and white vertical ones, which are actually in child size, so they are a little tight. These ones are your horizontals, but as you can see, they are little stockings. And these are my horizontal black and purples. These are my purple ones. They're just basic sheer purple. Usually I'll wear these underneath fishnet or something. They're green ones, pretty much from the same brand. So they're just basic green and sheer. This is another pair of florals that have got like kind of a crossing pattern. And sweetie. Hi sweetie. Hi honey. How are you, sweet honey? Yeah. Then I've got my spiderweb fishnet. So it pretty much just looks like a whole bunch of spiderwebs. But it's wholly fishnet. Super Fort fishnet stocking. I get up on the other one, so that's why there's only one here. This is my double fishnet, so there's like 2 fishnet strands for every little section-y. Now this is a side pair with skull and crossbones down the sides. Pirate skull and crossbones. I have this pair, which is basically sheer with a bunch of little tiny boxes everywhere. Now this is sheer with a whole bunch of little tiny black dots and little bows everywhere. Now this is some more like kind of little line fishnet stuff, but it's a little bit different. And then these are my gray ones. Another pair of stockings. And they have little bow on the back. And this crosses down it. I have these sheer black plaid ones. Now these are black sheer with little tiny black dots all down them. Now these ones are sheer purple and they've got this little flower on the bottom. These are my red sheers. And they got a little bit of lacing at the top. But they're pretty much just red sheer nylons. And then these guys are actually a personal favorite of mine. But they do have a little bit of damage to them. But that happens with frequent wear. These are my really wide fishnettings, which are a bitch and a half to put on. But they are like the stretchiest things ever. They stretch for days. These are my purple fishnets, so they give a bit of a purpley tint. And these are another pair of stockings, with a little bow on the bottom. And they're actually so old that when you snap them, they create a whole bunch of dust everywhere. Sheer with vertical lines. I've got these brown ones, which are actually another hand-me-down. These are not actually fishnetting. They're just sheer that are made to look kind of like fishnetting. Oh, this is a colored floral design. They're like a pinkish red kind of color on black. Now these are my red horizontal stripes. And these are so old that they're actually starting to deteriorate a little. Now these are a semi-sheer, dark purple. And they add like these really cute highlights. It's just nice. Muscles. And these are just your general black and white polka dots. And then I've got these ones, which have little leaves all over it. And these hoop stuff at the top. These brown and green kind of painted style ones, which I don't really wear often for, they're not really my style, but they are super comfy. And I've got my white fishnets. And I've got these crossing white ones that are kind of, I guess, mummy-esque. I don't know if that helped lighting-wise. I'll check that. Then I've got these sheer leopard prints. And I've got these red ones. Then I've got these ones that are stripes that change sides for where the striping is. I've got these pretty intense blue ones. And then I have the blue fishnets, which are this color.